Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Slimming Surgeon podcast. I am your host, Dr. Kandace Kichler. Today, we have part 2 of a very special podcast that I recorded with my bestie, Olivia Figueroa. She is a fitness enthusiast, an entrepreneur, a trainer. She coaches nutrition. She's a model, and she is everyone that you want to know about because you always ask me. So Olivia's back on the mic. Hi, Queen.
Hello. So happy to be here.
So last time you were here, you were visiting Florida. You are currently on a long hiatus in Florida. How is it going?
It's been so great. I mean, what's not to love? The sunshine. It's so warm out. I've been here since the end of January. So it really has
2 months, 2.5 months.
Yeah. I've been loving every second. I mean, let's be real. You know, it's the healthiest place to be.
It really is. I mean, I don't understand. I wouldn't be able to live in a place that has really long winters. I grew up in Alabama. It got cold there, but you know, I got out before it really affected me.
Yeah. For me, it was like a one-time thing. Like, did it once, 1 year, and that's kind of enough for me. Like I'm fine. I will never do it again, I think.
Yeah. But you're planning to go back at least for a good period, correct?
Yeah, definitely. I'm leaving here sometime the first week of April. So I am heading back up north. Don't worry.
Okay. So today's episode is going to be a little bit unhinged. We are uncaged. This is raw, live footage. Not really live, but you know what we mean.
That's my best, unhinged and uncaged. I mean, that's how I like to live my life.
So we have a lot of topics that we want to talk about because these are topics that come up in everyday conversation. These are topics that are constantly being debated on social media. So we're just going to address them head on.
Let's do it, Kandace.
All right. So let's talk about... We're going to get to the icks soon, but let's start with realistic eating for your goals. So let's expand upon that. What do you feel like are realistic eating habits if you want to achieve your goals?
So this is something that I feel really, really strongly about because social media is just such a huge part of our lives these days, mine included, yours included. And it can be a great tool, but it can also be the opposite. And especially when it comes to being realistic with your body goals, because in this day and age, it's all about body positivity and you're supposed to not
have cheat meals, indulge.
Right. And not want to look a certain way. And if you say the word, you know, you want to be skinny or you want to be slimmer, you can get attacked. You know, so it can be very tricky. And I am just a huge advocate for being realistic, and being realistic for the most part means you have to say no to a lot of things. You can't say yes to every single social event. You can't drink 4 nights a week, and you have to prep your food, and you have to say no a lot more than you want to. Let's be real. I mean, you got to restrict sometimes if you want to reach a certain goal. And then especially when it comes to being over 30, you know, I am 33. A lot of my clients are between the ages of 30 and 42. I would say that's kind of like my sweet spot. It's what I really love working with. And that's what I enjoy the most because I think I can relate to it the most. But I say to everyone who trains with me and follows me, if you are over the age of 30 and you want to maybe hit a goal and you want to look your absolute best, it definitely is going to come with being realistic and not going out 3 nights a week. Sorry. And I tell everybody that, and some people might not want to hear it, but it's true. And they'll say, oh, well, I see so-and-so on Instagram and she eats X, Y, and Z. And I'm like,
Not true.
Not true. Like,
And or her or his photos are edited and they don't have the results that you're achieving or trying to achieve.
correct. And not to mention, everyone is different. So like, first things first, you can't compare yourself to anyone else. But I just feel like what you see on Instagram half the time is not realistic, and
It's not realistic or real, period.
Exactly. So we just have to be mindful of that. And you just have to be like very honest with yourself and with your goals. And if you're working with someone, you have to be honest with them about what you want to achieve and what you're willing to do.
Yes. I think you also have to be open to change. A lot of us are really stuck in our ways and our habits. And if you want to make change in your body or your appearance or your strength or your longevity, then it starts with being willing to make those changes from point A all the way to point Z.
100%. Like you can't do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. You have to be willing to make so many changes in order to look differently and feel differently.
And I want to echo what you said about aging. Like you and I are both, guilty of being able to eat whatever we want and drink whatever we want when we were younger.
Absolutely.
But
Not
that
anymore.
is not the case.
Nope.
That is not the case. I swear if I look at a French fry, then I can't be in bikini.
I mean,
it's hard but it's reality. As you get older, it's more difficult to maintain a certain shape or a certain aesthetic. And if you don't want to maintain that, that's fine too. Maybe this combo isn't for you.
Totally.
Be realistic with what your goals are and just,
So true. I absolutely cannot eat whatever
mindful.
I want. Like it's just the reality of it. And you got to just be okay with that.
Yeah. I think, I realized that I was eating out way too often. When you're busy and you're working and you've got children, it's just a lot easier to go grab something, from takeout or from the grocery store that's already prepared for you, but you don't really know what's going into that food. You don't know how it's cooked. You don't know anything about the ingredients. So, finding time and making it a priority to cook your own food makes a huge difference, not in just like the macros and the nutrients that you're taking in, but how you feel afterwards.
100%. And also your portion sizes. I mean, you kind of lose sight of portion control when you're eating out all the time. So aside from all the ingredients, because that's the most important thing, but you could end up eating like double the amount that you should be eating and not really realizing it.
Right. Or it's normalized. For example, I went to Bolé the other day to pick up some food and I got a regular sized bowl. That is enough for 3 meals, at least 2. Okay. Maybe 3 if you're trying to not eat large portions, but that's regular. What about the large? Like how many meals is that? So it's very alarming what our portion sizes have come to. And there have been studies on this where they've looked at what the sizing and the packaging used to be 30, 40 years ago and how it has exponentially increased. And that's also why our waistlines have exponentially increased throughout America.
100%. And just to touch on that portion size thing, I blame it on my Cuban background and my heritage. But let me tell you something. I can put down more food than I've
seen it. I have literally seen it. You're like, where does that go?
It's so true. Not saying that I should.
You would think she vomits it.
No. I just I can consume a large amount of food and it's like kind of crazy. So if I'm not mindful, I will end up eating like double the amount that I probably should. And then I feel like shit after. And then, I'm sluggish. And I'm like, why did I do that? But at the end of the day, it's all about being mindful, right?
Exactly. So if someone wants to know, what are good portion sizes for me? Do you have a reference that you go to, or do you tend to tell people this is the right size for this, or think about a hamburger should be this big, or what are some kind of go-to sizings for certain types of foods?
So I always say, one thing I always say is, make your protein the main event. Right. I don't know why I started saying that, but I did, and it stuck, and it really has helped a lot of my clients. So you need to have a main event of a meal, no matter if it's lunch or dinner, because that way it's the biggest part of your meal, it's a lean protein. So for me, I'm a meat eater and I like fish. So fish, chicken, ground turkey, turkey breast, steak, or like a lean ground beef. Those are and eggs too. So I always have a main event in my dish. Aside from that, fats, that's one thing that I'm always telling people to be mindful of. So they say like the palm of your hand, which that's kind of tricky to measure in my opinion. But I more so say like, if you have an avocado for lunch, just be mindful of your fats at dinner and vice versa. Sure. Like you don't need like avocados for lunch, almond butter for breakfast. Like you just have to make sure that you're balanced out throughout the whole day. And then, same thing with carbs. Like I don't do carbs at every single meal. You need carbs every day, but it's like, you have to definitely balance it out and, work with a nutritionist if you need to know your exact numbers and your exact
your goals.
Yeah. Your exact macro breakdown. Sorry. That's not what I'm going to give someone, but I'm definitely going to give someone a guideline of like, how much to put on their plate and whatnot. And then for fish, I always say when I order salmon, I do anywhere between 6 to 7 ounces. I don't know. I'm more like on the 7 ounce. I'm just like a protein girl. Like I need like a nice piece of fish.
Well, I think the benefit to protein and making it the main event, like you emphasize, is that you can have quite a bit of protein.
Totally.
And if you do, A, you're going to feel full, but B, you're helping your body in so many different ways that Absolutely. It's not so bad if you overindulge in a little bit of steak or salmon or chicken or whatever it may be versus you overindulge in your sugar, your fat, and your carbs. And it's like the scale is showing it tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely measure your olive oils too. That's another thing that can get like out of control, just like pouring olive oil. So I would say measure your fats, measure your carbs, and then your proteins you can kind of eye.
Right. Okay. So I want to go to what are some of the biggest common health and fitness myths? Let's do a myth busters round.
Ooh, okay.
All right. You tell me, is it a myth or a fact that your best body is when you were younger?
That's a big myth. That is a big fat myth.
I feel like for me, I mean, not at this current moment because I'm not at what I feel is my best, but for me, I definitely got better, especially after my first baby. And that was a great time for me.
100%. Like when I see a photo of myself when I was in my early 20s, I kind of cringe, to be honest. And I shouldn't say that because that's, I want to talk nicely about myself. And I was already well into my fitness career when I was like 22, 23. And after ballet, it was like, I got right into fitness. So my body was always so important to me. But back to the overeating thing. I mean, this was before Instagram and I was even like, already documenting my food. Remember I would like post it on my blog that I had?
Yes.
Oh my God, I should pull that up one of these days. But like I was cooking every single day and I was putting so much effort into my body and I thought that I had such a great body and I was like, oh, my abs are starting to show, whatever. And I look back, I'm like, oh my God. All right. Like at least I was cooking and at least I was, putting in so much effort, but my portion sizes were way too big. I was consuming so many calories. And then not to mention, I was still having like all these cheat meals on the weekends and I was going out and boozing and eating pizza and whatever.
Oh my God, we would eat so much pizza.
Ew, it's so gross. I know. But in hindsight, like I still was a very, very healthy. Yeah. And I was healthy. But that being said, no, I look at my body and I'm like, very high body fat. I was pretty like inflamed because it was before I cut dairy and I was like very allergic to dairy. So I had this like kind of puffiness that never really went away. Which thank God I have totally under control now for years, but you learn so much about your body, especially as being a woman. Like, and this is what I always stress to my clients and my followers. Like you have to learn your body from the inside to out every day. Like do something that like will promote you knowing your body more, because the more you know your body, the more you'll know what works for you and like how to tweak certain things. And once you get older and dealing with aging and weight loss and all that, everything is different. So you have to kind of like constantly evolve with your body. And if you do it right, you can have your absolute best body well into your 30s, well into your 40s, after babies. Like I've seen it happen. And then me personally, I have my best body today at 33 than I ever have in any of my 20s.
I feel like we have the same exact nails right now.
I know. It's just looking, wild. I was looking at yours, but
mine are a little purple. Mine are lavender with the chrome.
And look at me with short nails. Who am I? I cut them all down. I'm not a short nail girly.
Shoot, right?
No, I just like broke one and I'm like, you know what? Let me start fresh. And I'm like counting down the days till I have long nails again. Ugh.
I don't know how you're doing that.
Me either.
So I think one of the things that I have learned that I did not know, because medical school doesn't really teach you very much, that we actually talked about on my podcast with Dr. Barry, the gastroenterologist, Love you, Barry, is that people, women and men, as we get older, we get more sensitive to dairy. And that's something that, can happen to literally anyone at any point. So I think, you found it out early, but a lot of people are walking around with issues related to dairy and have no idea. So I would say, if you are struggling with your weight, if you are struggling with bloat, with like indigestion, like just uncomfortable things, try to start eliminating things one by one and seeing, do it for a week or two. Don't just do each day a new elimination, but consider reducing or taking out your dairy. Consider reducing or taking out gluten, sugar, different things that we know with studies, with time, with science are inflammatory and can cause problems in certain people, because you never know. That may be the one thing that helps you get back on track, and it's worth a shot.
100%. I think the elimination strategy is the absolute best thing you can ever do for your body. I mean, if you're experiencing any sort of bloating or discomfort, even like breakouts.
Yes. Rashes, breakouts. Yeah.
Like even if you're, I don't know, like
increased allergy symptoms,
constipation, like their mood related issues. Like I always say, start eliminating things and give it time. So like, in the last 10 years, like whatever has come up for me health-wise, I have eliminated coffee at one point.
Didn't work.
Praise up. Yeah, no, I'm a coffee lover for life. But for me, it was like dairy, and the last thing I eliminated was Greek yogurt. I remember in my 20s, like I stopped eating all other dairy, but then I still kept my Greek yogurt on just for the protein. But
I can't do Greek yogurt.
It doesn't bring anything to my life because I'm a meat eater and I eat so many vegetables and I get so much protein that like, I don't need it. And I just felt like shit all the time, anytime I would eat dairy. So it's not cute for anyone for me to have dairy. So nobody give Olivia dairy, please.
Unless you're going to like give her a dairy pill first. So we actually reduced or eliminated gluten from Charlie's diet recently because he's been having a lot of issues with allergies and asthma. And one day I was like, the doctors that I was taking him to, which are great, his pediatrician, his allergist, they were great, but I started inquiring about like more holistic things. Like, is there any special diet that you would recommend? Like, is there something you think I should be eliminating? And it was kind of met with blank stares. And so I did my own research, and so many of the things that he suffered from in the last like year and a half are on the list for gluten sensitivity. Like if you are gluten sensitive, you may experience these things. And it was like, I felt like I was poisoning my child. So anyways, we cut it out. It's actually not that hard to avoid gluten.
Not at all.
Like it's not, if you eat a lot of protein and healthy fats and real food, you're actually like never going to come in contact with gluten.
100%.
So that has been a game changer for us and for him. Like I'm telling you, I noticed the dark circles under his eyes go away within like 2 to 3 days.
Oh, I totally believe it. And I also think that it's the food in our country that's an issue also. I just think that there's a lot of contamination. There's a lot of GMOs and all this other crap that might not exist in other countries. But for the most part, I think that like it is very easy to eliminate, especially with kids. And there's so many different ways you can give them other carbs, sweet potato, oats, like all sorts of different things that you can give them.
Exactly.
And it's just a matter of like avoiding them when you're out. But as far as you're in your own home, it's so easy.
It's so easy. Yeah. Like I went through the cabinet, on this little experiment, and we really didn't have that many things. No. The things that we did, we just threw them away.
Right.
Like move on. Okay. Myth or fact? A longer workout is better than a high quality workout.
longer workout is better than a high quality.
Like a 2-hour workout is better than a 30-minute focused workout.
Okay. So this is a 2-part answer because
I didn't say that was allowed.
well, give me an exception for this one. So I am all about quality over quantity when it comes to workouts. For example, I really, really stress rest days. So I think it's better to have 3 solid workouts in a week, really, really good ones, versus maybe 5 kind of half-ass workouts in a week, because quality over quantity, period. However, I don't love all the 30-minute workouts. It's such a trend.
Or the 20.
Yeah, it's such a trend these days.
It's a trend. Well, it's
10-minute workouts.
It's the instant gratification.
It's the instant gratification, the convenience, the like not focused. I'm on my phone or I'm too busy to work out, which that is, everyone needs to take that out of their vocabulary. You're not too busy to work out. You just don't want to make it a priority, period. So that being said,
Clip that.
that being said, I think that yes, a quality 30-minute is better than an hour that maybe like you're distracted or you're kind of going in and out of your workouts. Or you're just
doing like boring steady state cardio.
100%. Right. And you, versus like really focused 30 minutes, but all the time is where it gets tricky.
I'm going to say something that's going to get us banned from social media.
Bring it on.
Marathon runners are not in shape. I'm sorry, but I see so many people who have run whatever, 26.2 miles, horrible body fat percentage, horrible dietary habits. I don't even want to know what their blood work looks like. Like, I'm so proud of you for accomplishing that. That is a lot. Mentally, I could never do it, but that doesn't mean you're healthy. And that does not mean you're in shape.
True. I mean, that's a whole other,
we're getting canceled.
That's a whole other topic. I mean, I'm allergic to running. So like, it's just my hips hurt, my knees hurt, you know, I'm like, I did so many years of ballet that like, I can really only run 3-4 miles and that's kind of it for me. But some people love to run and that's great. It's better than nothing, obviously. 100%. Obviously. And if it feels good in your body, then by all means do it. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to maintain muscle tone if you're running too much. Like there's just no way to like keep balance out the breakdown muscle and run all the time. But I mean, hey, everyone's goals are different, right? We have to be
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Okay. Another myth versus fact. What you see on social media is real. Obviously.
Fact. Everything is real.
No, I want to go to social media frauds. That is the next topic on our list. Olivia and I have come in contact with many of them through our life. And
just say it. It's the face tuning.
Face tuning.
Just say it. When you see a girl in the gym, I was in New York before I came to Florida, and I was at a gym that I frequent, and I saw this girl that I don't really know well, but like well enough to say hello to type of thing. We have mutual friends. An acquaintance. And always have had really great interactions with her. She's always been kind and nice and whatever. She's cute. But I didn't recognize her.
Yeah, we know. I literally know a lot of people like that.
And then I felt bad because I was like, oh shit, this is so-and-so. And I didn't recognize her because she looks so different.
That's really uncomfortable. Please stop doing that. We love you. Like, you shouldn't have to change your entire appearance to be on social media. Yeah. You're going to get just as many likes or clicks if you do or don't the heavy editing. I think you get less views if you do a lot of heavy editing because people see you as a fraud.
I mean,
or actually maybe you actually get more engagement because other people are sending it and saying, I can't believe they edited this much.
I don't know.
It might be a strategy. Maybe we should try it.
I will never, but
I'm just kidding.
It's just like, and she's someone who's posts about, her workouts and stuff like that. And it's just like, it just was really shocking to me because you can't preach that you eat a certain way and work out a certain way and look completely unrecognizable in your photos versus to how you look in person. Like it was just really like, it was eye-opening to me and also kind of frustrating because I'm like, I work so hard.
Right.
And like, I want to be authentic all the time. And I don't know, like
it sets unrealistic goals for people as well. Like if you are, for example, maybe this person's a trainer or whatever she is, and she's posting that she looks a certain way, but she actually doesn't. Like, how can you take honest advice from someone like that? It's kind of the same thing with the filters for the face. Like I will admit I use them occasionally. I like to use them to smooth my skin and things like that. But I'm not using filters that are completely changing the structure of my face where I look like a completely different human who's had, plastic surgery, even though I'm a proponent of plastic surgery. You want to be recognizable and you want to be authentic to where people can trust you.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. You should,
you're a no filter girly. I get it.
Well, no, you should not like take off 30 pounds off of your body. Like
yes.
It's wild to me. And also like, how do your friends not notice? Like if I did that,
I think they do.
Wouldn't you be like, hi, whatever are you doing? Like this photo looks nothing like you. You know what I mean? But
it's funny when people post the really edited stuff and you can see like you look in the background and there's like the background's completely distorted. The lines are now waves.
Yeah.
The horizon is like up 30 degrees on one side.
Well, like I always say, videos don't lie. So make sure that if you're following someone that you really admire and that you really want to take advice from, it's someone who posts videos often.
Yeah.
Like in real time.
And talks to the camera because then you can see, like it's not going to be hidden well if you're actually speaking into the camera. Okay. So let's go over, relationship expectations on Instagram. I'm just so beyond this because I don't post about my relationship because I feel like that's A, weird. B, I don't feel like it's necessary. Like I tag my husband. Yeah. If I want him to see a photo that I'm tagging on Instagram, but I don't post these cheesy, like, oh my God, so many years. Because I almost feel like it jinxes you to some degree. Oh. Or maybe the people that are trying really hard have already set themselves up for failure. But I remember this couple, they posted something about like, oh my God, 12 years, so amazing. And then like a month later, they announced their divorce. That's tragic. That's tragic for you, but also your followers. You let them down.
I know, totally. I mean, it's interesting because I'm going to post my man one day at the altar. You're gonna know I have a man one day when I'm either
when there's a ring on it,
or like, I've eloped in the south of France and it's a done deal. We had a party, we had a wedding. No, I'm just kidding. I won't be that extreme, but I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like in New York, it's even worse. Like
really?
Yeah. Like I've known some couples in person who they don't even
talk.
They don't even like each other. Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't know it from their social media because it's like over the top with the lovey-dovey posts and all that stuff. And it's just like, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day,
you do you.
I want to say like, not my business, not my circus. What do they say? Not my circus, not my monkeys.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Right. But at the same time, it's just like, well, I'm constantly seeing these posts of them that are like over the top. And then, you see them in person and it's not at all like that. So I don't know. That's a tricky one, but all I know is like, I just always want to keep it real as possible. So we'll see. Maybe I'll feel differently when I have a man, but for now,
it's okay I think early in the relationship, you should do whatever feels right to you.
Totally.
But when you go over the top and post things that aren't really what's you're behind the scenes, then it's tough. It's tough for everybody.
It's giving cringe.
It's giving.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of New York, we have on our list New York versus Florida plastic surgery trends. So, I mean, you have obviously a lot of clients in New York. What are people doing up there? Because I can tell you what people are doing here and it's so focused on the body. But I think the aesthetic goals are different north to south.
Totally. Also very focused on the body up there, I would say. But one thing I never realized until moving to New York was New Yorkers are way more of a plastic surgery culture than South Florida. And I kind of always thought the opposite. But then since living there, it's like, and let me first say, don't get it twisted, people. I'm all about plastic surgery. Kandace is one of my best friends. She does plastic surgery. I think it's amazing. You're damn right. I'm going to get a tuck and a nip and a whatever after I have kids for sure.
If you need it, maybe you don't.
Yeah, but like
everybody's different.
And I think you should do whatever you want to do to make yourself feel beautiful because you have one body, one life, and I'm all for it. I just never realized that it was more of a thing in New York than in Florida. So, and people
do they talk about it there?
Yes. I was going to say people are very open about
Maybe
it there.
that's why it's more, and it's almost like a status symbol.
Yeah. It's like
it's common and it's a status symbol.
Common. Yeah. And there's a lot of really great doctors up there. I have noticed like way more so than in Florida. And it's like, and I've seen some really, really good work. And I've had clients that like, you would never even know. And they've done everything under the sun. Or I have even friends up there who like maybe aren't so open about it, but they like tell like their, their trusted few, or even like people I don't train, and they look so good and so natural. And I'm like, wow, that is amazing. Like,
yeah, well, that's typically what you want. That's a good aesthetic outcome is 100%. A natural result, you, but younger, or you, but better. So you don't look like a different human, or you don't look like you've had quote unquote work done.
Right.
But I would say some of the trends are making their way down here. Like people are getting their tucks, but the breast. So let's talk about that. I feel
like boobs are coming back though.
They're still requesting small boobs, at least here.
But I feel like it's a small implant.
Yes. Okay. Yes. People are very much still interested, or maybe they're becoming interested in a little bit of an augmentation with the implant, but they want the smaller look. It's not the big breast currently. Every day, I want them smaller. I want them higher. I want them cuter, but I want them smaller. And people will show me, like I had a girl I explanted, I took her implants out. She's considering putting them back in, but she shows me like, I want this flat, very small mound look. And that definitely came from New York because it used to be big, big, big boobs down here.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, you know me, I'm all about the small titty lifestyle. I don't own a bra, so, not my thing, but I definitely think that they've made a comeback. Like I know a lot of people in the last year who have gotten them done like for the first time.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting because for a while I didn't hear of anyone getting them done. It was kind of like their wave came when we were like in our early 20s and then nothing for a while. And now suddenly I'm hearing more and more girls getting them done, which I think is great. And again, back to what I said, if you feel like you're going to feel sexier and you want them for your body, then go for it.
That's a lot of what it is. It's about the confidence totally. In your body and wanting to fit out clothing that you want to wear, wanting to feel comfortable without a top on, in a bikini. There are a lot of different reasons, but life, hormones, breastfeeding, all these things take a big toll on the breast. And so that's why we're seeing that second wave. For sure.
Definitely. Even if it's just the nipple, I mean, like I know girls who said that their nipples were destroyed after breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Which I can totally see how you would want them done.
Yeah. Yeah. That can be very scary sometimes. Okay. What about Botox and fillers? Like, we see the overfilled face down here.
Yeah.
That's not as common where you are, correct?
I think that has that's one trend that I think is really back down. Thank God for the better, because I feel like girls nowadays are going with the less filled look.
Yeah.
And even now, when I see a girl with lips that are way too big, I'm like, oh my God,
you're going to regret that.
So big.
Yeah.
I'm all about, I love a lip filler. Mine are filled. You know, I'm all about the subtle fill. Botox, same. I love a little tox.
A little baby Botox.
Yeah. Forehead, 11s.
So someone
what are
says
these called? Smile line.
Yeah, those are the crow's feet.
Right.
So, I mean, people would argue, but Olivia, you're so clean. You talk about clean eating and clean this and clean that. Why are you putting these things in your body? Like, what's your response to that?
Yeah. So this is something that I talk about all the time because I obviously, like, I don't wear aluminum deodorant. I don't buy aluminum foil ever in my house. I
need it.
I try to never use single-use plastics. I'm all about glass. Like you don't really find a lot of plastic in my house. So it's
You don't use a microwave.
I don't use a microwave.
It's a storage closet.
Literally, it's a pantry. That is true. And that actually started in Florida before I moved into a shoebox.
Y'all, this is some tea. One day I was in Olivia's apartment and she had a tampon, like a traditional tampon. I was like, what is this?
Oh my God, that's right.
How would you allow this in your body? No, it was plastic.
It was plastic?
It was like a real like Tampax tampon. I was appalled. I couldn't believe that was in your home.
You know, that might be another one of my items that go in the toxic box. So I've got my toxic items and my non-toxic. The non-toxic box is definitely bigger than the other. But yeah, I mean, maybe I will use a plastic tampon every now and then. But I always say, like, you have to strive for a balance. You can't be non-toxic 24/7. At least I can't be.
Well, I think you would drive yourself crazy.
Yeah. And like, you have to be realistic. And at the end of the day, like, we're all going to die. Hello. Like, I do every single thing in my power every single day to like nourish my body and to minimize cancer causing products as much as I possibly can with my non-toxic deodorant and I wear a lot of clean makeup and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not against Botox. I want to smooth my forehead. I want to age gracefully. And so I think it's a balance, you know, you just got to like be really mindful.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just so worth it to me.
It is to me too.
Obviously we have people, friends, family, etc., who don't, you know, indulge in these things. But I look at, for example,
my mom has never had Botox.
Really?
Yeah.
She looks great though. I mean, she looks age appropriate. Right. You know, she definitely doesn't look necessarily a lot younger than her real age.
Right.
But, you know, with Botox, you can really turn back the hands of time.
Absolutely.
Especially with a little filler.
Until it's time for a facelift, of course.
When you need the lift, you need the lift. But, you know, I look at people who, like, there's some very, very, very few celebrities who have done like almost nothing. And I don't want to look like that. Carrie Bradshaw,
I mean, hey,
what's her name?
To each
Sarah
their
Jessica
own.
Parker.
Yeah, I think it's just a personal preference, and
I prefer the Joan Rivers look. If you know me, you know.
She did look fab, but hey, I think do whatever makes you feel sexy, beautiful, and unstoppable, period.
So unstoppable. What about stopping people? How do you feel about cutting people off? I love to cut people off in traffic. If they're doing something dumb, just get out of the way. Let me just make this a public service announcement. If you are driving slow, like if you are driving the speed limit or slower, do not ever be on the left side. Like if there are 2 lanes, get over to the right.
That's a fact.
If you didn't know this, bless your heart, but get over.
Yeah. I mean, obviously safety first, but yeah, I'm with you. Actually, I got pulled over the other day.
Oh my.
Every time I'm in
rental?
Florida, in a rental, I got pulled over on Dixie for speeding. And I swear to God, every time I'm in Florida, I get pulled over and I'm like,
I don't even live here.
And of course I know I got
a warning.
Where were you
going?
Preach. I got a warning.
Praise up.
I was on Dixie and I was on my way to meet a girlfriend for brunch. And, you know, I was just vibing per usual on Dixie.
You probably barely even heard the siren.
The sun was out. Okay. No, I saw him and I'm like, oh, I'm going down. That's it. But
what were you going? Like 55 and a 35? Like what did he clock you at?
He clocked me at like 46 and on Dixie's probably like 35 or something like that. But like he came to my window and I'm in a rental. Like I'm just visiting. I don't even live here. I live in New York. You know, I pulled the New York card when it's,
I don't know if that's helpful.
When it's convenient.
I feel like that's like more reason to give you a ticket. I'm from New York and I'm just here.
No. But I have a Florida license. Hello.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Florida
that doesn't
girly.
work.
And I was like, oh, I was just coming from my mom's house, whatever. Please. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize. I was very apologetic / flirty, but you know, you got to do what you got to do.
You said you were from New York and you gave him a Florida license. I'm surprised he wasn't like, why didn't you update your license, ma'am?
You're right. I didn't even think about that.
This is risky business.
Whatever. I'm just living life on the edge here while I'm in town.
I'm just thinking of all the potentials, but
I'm glad a good time, not a long time.
I'm glad you got a warning only, but do you cut people off in your life? Is this a healthy habit? I'm
needed.
On the fence about this. Yeah.
I'm not on the fence about it. I'm actually like pretty when needed, you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's necessary, and cutting someone off isn't always a negative or a violent or aggressive act. I mean, that could just be silence and that's it. Which has happened to me before.
Significant distance.
Just absolutely no more contact and close the door and move on. Period.
Growing apart is sometimes a good thing. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and this can be a family member, a friend, and a colleague. I've
been cut off by a lot of colleagues.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I have cut them off actually. Yeah.
For me, it's never been like, I don't have anyone I have beef with. I will say that. Like no one that if I saw today, ran into them, it would be, a situation or a confrontation at all. It's just like sometimes you maybe don't see eye to eye with someone and there was a certain specific thing that happened that kind of sent you your own ways. Other times it's been maybe you just find that like you don't really align with someone anymore like you once did. And we're constantly changing as humans and as we should. And sometimes like you realize like maybe you don't feel really good when you're around somebody and that's valid. Like,
yes. Listen to your intuition.
Yeah.
And listen to your gut.
When you leave, like if you're in the presence of others or if you're in someone's company who you walk away from them and you feel kind of just like down or negative or like any sort of way, and it like continuously happens to you, I think that there's something to be said for that. And I think that that's something you should pay attention to. Because at the end of the day, like who you hang out with and who you spend your time with directly impacts your life, your thoughts, your work, your environment, like everything, your mood. So I just think that life is really short and I think that you should be feeling
as happy as you can be.
You should be happy. You should be feeling good. And I'm sorry, but even if it's a family member, I mean, like growing up, I had a lot of negativity around me and there were certain individuals that I was young, so I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't get rid of them. I couldn't stop seeing them because I was underage. But then it came to a certain point where I'm just like, I don't need, just because you're related to me, like, I don't need you around me. Like, I don't need to be exposed to your drama and your toxicity. And so sometimes you just have to like walk away, and whether that's block them or, I mean, even back in the day, I don't even think you could block somebody. I think it was just like you stopped answering their calls.
Yeah.
And you either moved away or you just like stopped going to where they go. And that's that.
I find a lot of power in silence.
Absolutely. Me too.
You know, with texting and DMing, like no response sometimes is a big response.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think sometimes like we tend to drag relationships on longer than we should because maybe we have history or maybe we think that things will get better. And a lot of times like people will show you who they are and they'll show you what kind of friend they are. And I think that you just have to
listen to them
and also listen to your intuition. Like you said.
Right. Okay, so let's end this podcast with your icks.
Oh my God.
When it comes to men, this is the clip everyone's been waiting for. All my male viewers who are listening to this episode solely to listen to Olivia, this part's for you. Take some notes. Pull out your pen and paper, people.
Stay a while. Take a seat. I am infamous for my icks. I have a lot of them. And you know, my girlfriends make fun of me. They're like, you need to like relax. You have too many icks and you get annoyed by the littlest things. And sometimes you just can't really help it, you know? And I get it. Your
preferences are your preferences.
And I do get annoyed kind of easily. I'm not going to lie. I really do. Like I work very hard. I work 7 days a week. Like I do my thing. I have little tolerance for BS. And so I don't know. Like
let's talk about that ick the other day. That guy that randomly texted you.
Oh my God.
That was wild.
And spelled your name wrong.
Yeah. And tell the audience.
So the other day it was like a Tuesday, 1 o'clock. So midday, I get this random text from a phone number I don't know. And he says, wait, should I just read it?
Yeah. Read it out loud.
I don't know if I still have it.
And I put the pieces together. I'll tell you after you read it.
Shut up, really? Okay.
I know where it came from now.
He says, hey, Olivia, super random, but my sister blank got your number from Kandace.
Spelled incorrectly.
Spelled Kandice, because she thought we'd be a good fit. Let me know if you're ever in Tampa/St. Pete. I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
Would love to grab drinks. And so I read this text message. It was a Wednesday, 3 o'clock. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I didn't think anything of it at first because I'm like, well, Kandace has given my number to guys before. And I think that's great. I don't care. Like all my friends, they know that they can give my number to anyone. Like I'm not weird about that.
If you're an eligible suitor, I'm happy to give you her number. Period.
Exactly.
But you know where this came from? Instagram. Okay. Someone was messaging me something about you. I don't remember. And then it was about you being single. Oh my God, I have a brother. And I was like, oh, you should connect them. This is not what we mean. This is not what we mean. Like the sister definitely, I'm sure, had good intentions, but the brother, poor execution.
Poor execution is correct.
Like the worst way you could do it.
Well, the first
very impersonal. Did he even say his name?
He did not say his name.
We don't even know his name. We don't even know his name.
I don't even feel bad saying this because it's like, I don't even know the guy's name. And so the other thing is like, all right, if you know where I live, because obviously if you know my best friend, Kandace, you would know that I am here for winter in West Palm.
And not a Tampa frequenter.
And by the way, Tampa is not, you know, the next neighborhood over. Those of you who are not familiar with Florida, it's like a whole, 3-hour drive away. And so I'm just like, when guys, this is low effort in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's a great guy and this is nothing directed towards him personally. I'm just using this
is a great example.
As an example. So sorry.
This kind of stuff happens a lot.
Sorry, pal, if you're hearing this, but it's kind of just like,
sorry, pal.
If you know where I live, like, then you take my number, you call me, you pick up the phone and call me, or you text me and say, hey, I got your number from Kandace. My name is so-and-so.
I'd love to chat. I'd love to meet up.
Take you out.
Yeah.
I'd love to drive to West Palm to take you out. What night is good?
Yeah.
That is what I'm talking about. Like I need a guy who's going to be forward, direct, and he's going to want to make a move. And I'm sorry, like a first date, if a guy is interested in you and wants to pursue you, he's going to come to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Hello.
Honestly, how desperate would it look if you were like, hey, yeah, that sounds amazing. When can I come over to Tampa? Like,
you'd be surprised.
This is wild. But there are women like that.
There are. It's not me, but there are. I had a guy say the other day, oh, I'm in Miami for work for the next week. What's your week looking like? Would love to see you. Do you work tomorrow? Can you come to Miami?
What do you think about that?
I'm off tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow is Monday and I'm sipping mimosas by the pool.
Right.
Are you freaking kidding?
Right.
Like, it's just annoying, I mean, okay, call me harsh. Some of you listeners might be like, okay, you're being a bitch and you need to
I don't think you're being a bitch because obviously you work. So no, you can't just take off on a Monday.
But it's just like, I need effort, right? Like I
would say that was 50% okay because he did at least have a day and a time in mind.
Yeah.
Better than the vague next time you're in Tampa. But still, I agree. Like, look at the context here. You're messaging a successful woman who's got her own business, like dropping what she does last minute to come to you it's a little
never going to happen.
Out of the question.
It's never going to happen. I'm sorry. And I love that, like,
take
control, gentleman.
Chris, are you listening to this?
Sexy man who, like I said before, sees what he likes and goes after it, you know? That's just, it's hot to me. It's effort. And this day and age, like, another thing to touch on, I know this isn't really an ick, but this is more like, this is a buzzword on all these Instagram accounts that you see, like breadcrumbing, right?
What?
Breadcrumbing. Like, guys will give you, they'll like give you a little bit to like keep you interested and to get a response out of you, but they won't actually like pursue or they won't make a move. And I mean, I've even had like former lovers do that to me when they knew I was coming into town. Like, you know
how I feel about that.
Like 2 months ago when I arrived here, it's like, how are you going to breadcrumb me? I was with you for a long time and now you're trying to breadcrumb me. What? What is wrong with these men? Like, it's crazy. But anyway, I think that like effort is sexy and girls like that and girls notice that, especially girls who they
have self-worth.
Yeah. And they're busy and they don't want to just like, I mean, look, if you're trying to hook up, that's one thing, but I'm not. And like, I would love something serious at some point in my life.
Right.
And it's just the right guy, I feel like, will definitely pursue you in the right way.
In the right way. Exactly. And put his money where his mouth is.
100%. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
Be about it.
More actions, less words. But icks, let me give you like two.
Okay.
Let's see. A guy wearing flip-flops and like khakis or like flip-flops and jeans. I've been seeing that a lot lately in Florida.
Okay, well, those aren't your type anyways.
I know, but Kandace, that's an ick. And like a guy like crossing his legs wearing flip-flops and khaki pants or jeans. The leg cross.
I mean, I just think a gut is an ick. Like, I was watching a video the other day of this Instagram couple and they were like dancing with each other and the guy's belly was like jiggling on film, published for the world. That's an ick. Ugh.
Yeah. That's for sure. That's for sure, Nick. But there's one that I can say that's better. It's more like an ick would be the way a guy text messages. If he has like really bad grammar.
Oh my God. Yes.
That's a really big ick
and
to
misspelled
me.
words.
Misspelled words.
The phone corrects it for you. There's no excuse these days.
Another thing is like when a guy is too Instagrammy. That is such an ick for me.
To me, that screams you're interested in yourself or the same gender.
I just don't know. Like, and
I don't think that means you're interested in women. Like if you're a man posting a lot of selfies and things like that.
Either that or like you have,
which is fine. But
I don't know. My girlfriend was dating, or she like went on a few dates recently with a guy who had like an active Instagram for his dog. And he like would post. Yeah. And he would like post about like as the dog and would like write, captions being the dog.
Yeah.
And I was like, girl, I'm sorry, but that would be a huge ick for me.
That's so weird. I mean, I'm just going to say it. That's weird. Because what's the goal here? Like, is this guy trying to get Insta famous off his dog? If so, why? It's like, do you not have a career? And that's like what you want to make of your life is to post whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, that's a big one for me as a guy who's like way over the top with his Instagram posting. And some of you would say, oh, well, you're such a hypocrite because you're an influencer and you post your life on Instagram. Correct. I do. But personally, for me, it's an ick if a guy is too Instagrammy. So I don't know what to tell you.
Period. Okay. I think we've really covered all the bases.
Amazing.
This has been Slightly Unhinged. To my marathon running girlies, I really don't think you're that out of shape, but yeah, I love it when you lift weights.
Get in the gym, girls.
Call Olivia, sign up for her subscription.
Oh, totally. It's the best thing ever. It's $29.99. You get so much content.
Amazing content.
Yeah. And it's like simple
and
to
nutrition.
The point, easy to follow, and it's not overwhelming. You know, you can be like brand new to it, and you can get your sculpt workouts on there, and you can get your little intros, beginner workouts to the gym. And you never know, like you might just fall in love with weightlifting after that.
Exactly. Okay. You all know Olivia at Liv Figueroa.
At Liv Figueroa.
On Instagram. DM us. We might block you if you send us some hate messages.
Maybe not though. I don't know. It depends on my mood. But also I'm only in town for another few weeks. So if you're hearing this and I'm still here, get your butt into my classes.
Mostly at La Bar.
Mostly at La Bar. I do
sometimes at Ivy's store.
I pop up with Ivy, and then, I'm around town. So
send her a message. She'll do some private with you. Yeah.
Yay. Love meeting you guys.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening again. This has been Completely Unhinged and Raw with Liv Figueroa. Olivia, that's her real name. Leave me 5-star review, please. Really and thank you. Anymore. Yeah, that's because
5 stars to Kandace.
5 stars. Thanks for listening. We love you.
Thank you guys.
See you next episode. Ciao.